Vodafone presents the pre-match.
Indeed it does present the pre-match as we welcome you back to ESL One Katowice 2019. We're a little way away from our second series. Obviously, there are multiple series going on at the same time right now, so we're just waiting for those to finish up. So what we thought we'd do is, in the meantime, we'd open up some questions. There is a thread on Twitter right now under my handle. If you want to go and add your own questions, we'll get through as many as we can and pose them to our panel, which is Nahaz and Fogged. How you doing, Fogged?
Good.
Yeah, nice to have you back on the panel, mate.
Yep.
Feels like ages.
Yeah, it was good, you know. I didn't get much rest last night, but I'm here ready to go. I'm ready to, fill some time just like yesterday on the panel.
You need to leave Owen alone at night.
What?
Whoa.
And then you'll get more sleep.
Dude, Owen goes to sleep at 11 p.m. every night. He's a good boy. I can't do that. I stay lingering on Twitch forever.
Are you ready for some questions?
Yep, let's go.
Are you? All right, okay. I'm going to get some of these done. This first one is for Nahaz, and it's from Cyborg Matt, and it says, do you think Secret has Valve's patch notes before they're released?
Well, Matt would be the guy that could answer that, right?
Let me just claim it. That wasn't from Matt. I made that up. That was actually from Jay's.
But it is.
It does feel like it. I mean,
certainly. I'm one of those that I'm very anti-anointing teams at this time of the year. I think this is the time of the year when I usually start to evaluate teams. But Secret so far has looked like they could do whatever they want. And it's one thing when you've got a team that is running out first phase Leshrac in the groups. It's another team that's trotting out support Luna in the grand final, Luna in the grand finals of a major. It has certainly seemed that way.
Okay, Fogged on the same kind of theme then. Chai JC says, do you think the current team Secret is like the Wings gaming run of TI6? I guess in the sense that they can play anything in any lane at any time, whenever they want.
Nah. Wings is a lot more. Wings was just like absolute randomness.
Nobody knew what the hell they were doing.
Crazy.
Yeah. They were just like.
Did they not play a Techies?
Well, they also, they played
Pudge Techies.
Yeah,
they did, didn't they? It was Pudge Techies.
They also, I remember like clear games where it would be like, all right, this team picked like Enigma. All right, they're going to open with, they opened Line Razor the last game. And it'd be like, okay. The next game, Timber saw OD. And you'd be like, what?
Yeah.
It would just be, there wasn't a formula. Probably at least sometimes you can be like, I got it. Okay, I see it.
Didn't Peter say that their drafter was the greatest drafter of all time at the end of TI6?
Mm-hmm.
Certainly the hardest to draft against.
Yes.
It was impossible.
It never work out.
I tell you what, one commonality though is the offlane position. If you remember what Faith Beyond did with that team, that he would create space on these non-traditional offlane heroes, and it would look at certain points in the mid game like the other team just kind of didn't know how to deal with this. Zai is doing some of that.
Yeah, no,
I give you that.
A little similar.
With how much he's creating space on this Kunkka and Leshrac.
While we're on the subject of Faith Beyond, shout out to Faith Beyond, by the way. We understand that you suffered an injury. Hope you get well soon. Hope all things go well for eHome. They're having such bad luck right now. So
really,
thoughts with them. More questions. Gambit versus OG. Now, I should mention that, yet again, Gambit have taken OG down 2-0 in the other game.
God.
This chap says, sorry if I butchered your name. He says, Gambit versus OG. What makes Gambit an OG killer these last few months?
It is exactly, it's not just the last few months. It's, you look back at OG, what makes OG a great team? How did they win these 5 majors? They won them behind these greedier strats, the Nagas, the Alchemists, the Terrorblades, and the way that Gambit plays, you can't have a misstep against this team in the mid game. They just make you pay. That's really, it gives OG a lot of trouble. If OG can't have a great laning phase against a team like Gambit that is a pressure team in the mid game, a lot of those strats that look so good against more passive opponents end up falling flat. I mean, Alpha Ninja, totally 27-2-7 in 2 games as Razor.
Yeah, no, I mean, I 100% agree. Like that's the big thing is like the thing that Gambit has is they're a bit of a wild card too with some of their heroes. They're like, oh, people aren't really picking too much Visage and Meepo and whatnot. This was a couple months ago when they're I think Bucharest Minor, I think it was. Yeah. They were doing it like every game, and then they're continuing to do so, and they're pressure. They're all about run at you. They're kind of like the CIS that we love.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Sujoy's come up with a high quality question.
Oh, great.
Thoughts on the Thompson makeover? New hairstyle, yeah or no? High quality memes from Sujoy.
I gotta look at the picture again, actually.
It's like an Arcana. It's like he's had an Arcana.
I'm gonna take a look at it again.
I think he had the Arcana before.
Yeah. Well. Fogg's studying.
I'm not a rimless glass. I'm a rimless glasses guy, so I
mean, screen behind you.
He certainly looks like he could guest lecture for me now.
Yeah.
Right. He looks very like professorial. Yeah. Look at that.
He looks like he gained a couple like a year or two of age, like matured a little bit and everything too.
A few $1 million.
Yeah, a few $1 million, of course. That'll help a little bit. Right?
that'll do it for you. Yeah, that was one. Night Stalker didn't have a good win rate before the patch, and it still got nerfed. Thoughts on which position do you put Night Stalker? If you do pick it, that's from Prodeep. Is it a 3?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's it has the potential to be incredibly disruptive as a 3. Love that hero.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm wondering. I'm really like curious just to see how else you can play. I've been seeing I watch a lot of streams at night. I'm watching Mason playing a good amount. Mason's been playing safe lane NS. I don't think it's a thing. He's been trying. I don't think it's a thing.
Ready.
Yeah, and you just hear that the whole time. I've just been wondering. I'm like, is he that horrible mid? Probably, because you just lose really hard. But then you hit your 5-minute timing. I don't know. I've been kind of like wondering where else you can run that hero. But 3 is definitely the most adequate.
I feel like as a mid, it would be. He would have been better on like the old night cycle.
Yeah,
because
now it's 5.
like 1 or 2 more levels, and you're still getting those. If he could get kills consistently when the opposing mid was like level 6 or 7, I feel like that would be a big buff. But now you tend to reach those critical kill levels at the end of that first.
But you can fight on bounties.
It's true.
That's the one thing is that I was thinking about. I was like, 5-minute bounties, your nighttime hits, and you're probably the strongest hero on the map then. But you're missing out on your 4-minute like big power runes.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how people experiment with it.
It's interesting.
So
Yeah, it's definitely gonna change as we go along.
Yep.
This one says, how hard is it to cope with Kyle on the panel?
Alan?
That's for you, right?
Alan, Paul?
Look, I've just decided that over the last 12 months of working with Kyle on panels, that the best thing to do is allow him to just do whatever he wants to do.
Dude, the
And
real
then when
question
you
there
and
is,
Kyle
do
are
we
on the
have a
panel,
choice?
when you and Kyle are on the panel, it's best to just sit back and become an observer.
Oh.
And enjoy the carnage that ensues amongst you.
People don't realize because Kyle and I, we go back and forth, but we are very good friends. He's one of my favorite people.
Yeah.
It's a front. They're covering.
Yes, they're covering. Release
Keeping tabs on the other game, by the way,
Okay,
as we're doing.
Well,
It's very back and forth.
It is back and forth, isn't it?
Very back and forth.
Yeah.
Man, I'm telling you, if Forward lose here, I am very concerned.
Yeah, we should mention actually that For the Dream in that game have had a number of plays, not least of which I'm surprised one hasn't appeared on Reddit yet. From
The James Rubic
Oh
play. He
my
stole a CMO.
God.
I mean,
How has that
spoilers,
not
but
appeared
20
anywhere
armor.
yet?
there's been some huge plays that's happened already
Okay.
in this game, and it's looking like FTD should be able to close it out relatively soon. But
Okay.
we'll see.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll keep on with the questions. Do keep them coming, and we'll dip into them as we go through the different questions. One from Killer Pigeon says, "Ask Alan how he feels about status resistance."
Must you? Must you really, KP? I mean,
What about DD runes after 40 minutes outside the
DD
roach
runes
pit?
outside the roach pit. Two things that absolutely trigger me like nothing
He
else.
also has an add-on question. He said, actually, this is the perfect way to divide the panel 4 against Omni Knight. You've got the perfect 2 people on it. I know that you're particularly intrigued by it.
just
You want to see it,
intrigued.
don't you?
Yeah,
You want to see
yeah,
it? You want to see whether it works out?
Oh, I want
how
to
it-
see it. I just don't want to see it very often.
Okay.
I'm just not sure because I don't know how. I don't really understand. Like the laning is the
Yeah.
biggest thing that I'm
How do you
concerned about.
run it?
Where do you put him and how do you
Right.
actually do it? But his skill set just looks pretty insane right now.
He's still a 3, surely. Still an offlane, right?
I would assume, yeah. Oh my god.
Yeah, I just died. Okay.
I just died.
That's all. It's all good.
Woo.
I'm
good.
Let me have a look and see if there's any.
Well, you asked me about status resistance.
Yeah.
I
Do you
so
want to answer it or not?
when you're first teaching somebody Dota,
Yeah.
right? Spell combos and the timing of spell combos, how not to stack stuns. That's like one of the most fundamental elements of the game. And anything that changes that around, Dota has a big enough skill cup. As is, I just feel like status resistance is it's an extraneous and unnecessary lifting of that skill cap even farther.
It was like when they added the Brewmaster thing. The Cinder Brew,
oh
only
my-
elementals can light it on fire. And then we're gonna get to a point where it's like, oh my god, what if Morphling waveforms through Ember Spirit, and then we're like, if they
Does
start
he
changing,
go out?
does he,
Yeah.
does he
we,
douse him?
We spent 2 years
All right, like,
getting
can you
all
imagine
this
that?
composite universal damage, all of this stuff. We got that out finally, and now to reintroduce these elemental damage interactions.
Can you actually imagine though? It's like Ember, oh god, he has to dive somebody past the river. He has to actually use his remnant to go past the river so he doesn't turn off his flame, because that would be so awful. Like, imagine casting that too. It's just like, oh, in the middle of the fight, he stepped in the water.
And then we get,
He's wiped
10
out.
more cosmetic effects that add different
Yeah.
cosmetic sets that add different particle effects to everything, and you're just like, I have no idea what's going on.
would be funny.
Every interaction between fire and ice or fire and water has a dousing effect.
It would just get too crazy,
It
right?
would
Because then
get crazy,
Razor
yeah.
runs into the
Well,
onto
can you
the river, and
imagine?
everyone in the river dies.
But hold on, like, where does Jakiro fit into this?
Yeah.
Do I use Ice Path or Macropie? I can't remember which one I'm supposed to use right now.
Dude, look at that macro pyre.
That I'm missing that advert.
No, you're not. No, you're that.
What do we got here? We got one from Laurie Nyholm who says, "Why is nobody talking about Ursa more? Feels like the most OP hero in the patch."
Got nerfed a little bit.
Yeah.
Right? Got hit by
it
a
is.
small
It is
one.
really good.
Yeah, and it has
But-
been shown already at this event to be very good.
Well, but here's
But it's
the thing,
situational.
Right? A hero is never gonna, like Ursa isn't gonna get talked about when there's another hero like Monkey King that has a lot of the same attributes that does a lot of the same things. I like Ursa because even when Ursa's behind, Ursa is still gonna do its job as long as the team has a control advantage. And I think that robustness as a core is something that I value a lot in drafts.
I mean, Ursa's just this crazy hero that you get like a kill or two and, oh, Roche.
Yep.
And then you're playing with an Aegis advantage a lot of the time. So it's a hero that's really scary. And playing supports for that hero is miserable because he has a good 4 minutes, and you're a support who doesn't have boots, and he's got phase boots, and he's running at you with 450 movement speed, and you can't move.
And
It
God
looks like he's
forbid,
hasted.
God forbid you get stunned.
Yeah.
Like you're just insta dead.
Okay, I've got a couple of other meta-style questions, and then we'll move off those and talk about some of the wider ones. Why is Midas being built so much in comparison to the last patch? I think we've kind of spoken about this yesterday a little bit.
Yeah.
There's nothing else, is there?
Well,
is there anything
there-
other than drums, which already get
There
built?
are like 4 reasons,
with it.
right? So first of all, Battle Fury got nerfed,
Yep.
right? So the natural switch over to a farming item is minus. Second of all, there's just a lot of there's between the creep gold reduction, which is a little bit,
Yeah.
and just the fact that there's a lot of XP that got taken off the map. Denies no
Yep.
longer give XP to the offensive team. One of the ancient camps got removed, and you now need a little bit more XP to get to level 10, which is one of those really tight levels balancing wise with talents. That XP boost in the early mid game, a lot of people focus on the gold and whether the Midas is paying for itself.
Right.
And I think that's a mistake. It really is about that XP acceleration at a time in the game when you really need it.
It's a bit about both, right? Farm is restricted off map. So immediately when that starts to happen, people always start being like, all right, well, how are we going to get more farm? Yeah.
Yep.
That's how it is.
Robert asks, is Weaver offlane actually viable? I feel in pubs it doesn't work.
I'm not too sure about Weaver as a hero right now.
All I know is, as a 5, it's bloody annoying.
I think Weaver offlane.
That's all I know.
Weaver offlane is something that you're going to see usually when Weaver gets picked early in the draft and then gets countered.
Yes.
And then Weaver offlane can be really sick because the fact that Weaver can offlane means that you get a really favorable matchup in another lane.
Right. So you could use it as a flex pick early on.
I'm just not sure, like, how much does that Geminate really change? 10, 20, 30,
I don't-
40? It's like, he already felt like he was kind of in a weak spot, but that's the flex thing is the cool thing,
Yeah,
right? He can be
exactly.
played as the 4, he can be played as the 3.
If you
and-
look at it, Secret plays it in 4 positions, and that's super. Weaver is, I think you were saying something, or Cap was saying this yesterday. Weaver's one of those heroes that he's not going to get looked at this patch, and he's going to get like one more buff, and then he's going to be insane.
Yeah.
Probably.
Snacks Dodo says, Fogged, who will be the first team to pick the almighty Omni-Knight at Katowice?
I don't know. I really don't know. Probably Secret.
I mean, you have to. Who is the first team that's going to pick? Name your hero. It's got to be like OG or Secret.
Yeah, OG or
right?
Secret, that's what I would have said.
Yeah.
Maybe, what did PPD pick?
Maybe a wild. Yeah, I was
pick
thinking
it?
more of a. Who's a wild captain? I just throw it out there.
Would Peter pick it for 33? Is the real question.
That's what I mean.
Yeah, I don't think
I don't
so.
know.
Would Puppy pick it for Zai?
Oh, but Puppy
Probably.
pick it for anybody. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, YapSour's probably just like you. I could just run around with plus 28 strength. Purification, Killiar's creep waves. I can still farm.
Yeah.
Secure those last.
I mean,
insane.
it doesn't
we were
think
talking
he's
about
gonna
that
get farmed
yesterday.
with
That was like, what? That can't be a real thing. But it is a real thing. There's a general one for all of us actually here from Chris, who asks, what's your favourite event to be at? Could be past or present or future.
What's
I guess.
my
TI?
What's I mean, TI.
I mean,
is
TI
like,
is the obvious one.
I
So let's
can't
remove
answer
TI.
TI.
Let's
Okay.
take TI out. What one have you enjoyed
I think
over the years?
ESL Frankfurt 2015 was the first time that I walked out to this stadium crowd, right? 10,000
Sea of people.
And I mean, look, I'm a professor, okay? I've spent my whole career talking in front of people. Like that part of it, I don't get nervous anymore. That part of it doesn't affect me. But the first time that I walked up for a panel and there's 10,000 people, I was like, holy, this is awesome. I mean,
It is,
What about
it is a crazy
different
feeling.
TIs? Fine, I would say different. As it's still TI, but I would say TI 2 because
Right.
it's different. It still
Yeah,
was
yeah,
very
yeah,
different back
yeah.
then, and I also was like kind of like a player at the point, so I was like, it was pretty hype.
It's very community feel
Yeah.
back then, less
But
professional and.
we had a
sizable.
lot of events. The Manila Major is another one.
Manila
that,
Major
like,
stands out for me.
We
It's
were
fantastic.
sitting
Yeah,
back there in the green room,
Yeah.
and you could feel the stadium shaking during the draft.
One of the noisiest
It was
crowds I've
amazing.
ever sat in front of.
It was one of my first casts.
It was, I
that
remember.
actually came to,
Yeah,
when
I
I came
remember.
in, Paul. brought me under his wing.
Yeah.
Flamed me a lot. He's like, you don't talk? Why aren't you talking? Alan, I'm like, Alan and LD are threatening me. They talk too much. I don't know what to
looked after
intervene.
him. I looked after my boy. FTD have just won, by the way.
They did. Just saw it actually clear
Which
out.
is a stunning result for them. We pretty much wrote them off yesterday.
It's a stunning result for Forward.
I was going to say, I don't know what it says about Forward right now.
I do.
This team, if Asta are having trouble, then Forward are definitely in trouble.
I mean, you looked at these players toward the end of the Chongqing Major, and there was not the same vibe that I've seen with that group before.
Yeah.
I was already a little bit concerned, and I feel like a setback in this event. I'm a little bit worried for the future of this team.
But these boys, FTD, they've pulled a win off, and you know, against the odds, because we didn't give them a chance in this group of getting any games.
Well, let's be fair. I mean, that's where I think having the night to make some of those adjustments, because they really just looked overwhelmed.
They did look overwhelmed yesterday.
This is their best matchup, though. I think Forward, like you were mentioning, they're looking pretty rough.
Yeah.
So it's the best matchup for them. And Forward is going back to what they were like defaulting on in the past, where they used to they actually started to pick Yawar more Euros recently. Now they're like defaulting. He's just like Murano last pick, and I've seen them do it now like 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Just here, so
And
it's like
forcing that in this meta is just really dangerous.
yeah.
If you're just joining us, a quick update for you as well. We're just taking some community questions. You can feel free to at me on Twitter, @BallChannel, or send them to #ESL1. We'll check that one as well. And we've just heard, obviously, For the Dream have won their game against Forward Gaming. We're waiting for Forward Gaming now to play OG. Going to give them around about 10 to 15 minutes before the draft starts for that first game in our second series of the day. But in the meantime, we'll continue taking questions, and we'll move towards that and start previewing the match as well. Do you want some more questions, boys?
I wanted to mention
I know you
Birmingham
enjoy
last
these,
year.
don't you?
We didn't get a chance to talk about that.
We did. Birmingham was
amazing.
fabulous.
There's been a lot of good
It
ones.
was the
Birmingham was
closest to me.
fantastic for me,
It was the
really
closest to me to a traditional sports crowd with people knocking the balls around everywhere. That's I got a real kick out of
the
that.
DHL truck going by and stuff.
Yeah,
Big DHL! Just like yelling random stuff.
It's the first time I've ever seen a crowd cheer at an advert.
Yeah,
When the adverts came up, they would cheer. I was like,
would
what are
cheer
they
for
doing here?
And every sponsor in the world has to be watching that going, oh.
Yeah, why can that be us?
Salivating.
What did they do that was so special? They gave away cakes on a stick. That's what they did. That's what they did.
It is really
That's
tough
what takes
to
you
choose.
bribe us.
We're
It
easily
is, it
bought,
really is.
right? We're easily pleased.
But it's like
Cakes on a stick.
you think about like a lot of these like the more personable tournaments. I mean,
Yes.
I think a lot to like the majors and stuff like that. But it's like Boston Major was very different to the tournaments that we were having a lot. And that one too had very community personal feel. It's very tough to choose.
Yeah. Birmingham for me, obviously, being a Brit and having a big major in the UK was fabulous for me.
I knew-
Wearing your
usually-
flag, your suit.
No offense, Paul, but just at some of these events,
I just
you get a little grouchy, a little bit.
a little bit sometimes, yeah.
Like you walked around Birmingham the entire event. You were just beaming.
Yeah.
You were just like,
Yeah. Look, I don't normally get out the whole, bow tie and the waistcoat that much these days, but when I do, and when it's in Britain, you have to go the full way.
You
Do you
really
know what? I've even got a few little goosebumps about it. So do you know what I want to do right now? I want to take you back on a trip. I want to take you back in time to a little under 9 months ago where magic happened in Birmingham. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ESL One Birmingham, the first ever UK major for Dota 2.
All right, Birmingham! Hadn't actually seen just how many of you there were. This is actually incredibly intimidating. So let's do it one more time. Raise the roof. This is amazing. This is going to be a brawl of such different versions of teams, and I cannot wait to witness it with all of you. This underdog has shown just how sharp their teeth can be.
They can save with the base, Ahmed. He's having to look after it. The creeps are destroying it. They've got the kills. They've got the game. GG well played is called.
Gripped up two. This is all she wrote. GG is called to advance to the ESL One Birmingham Grand Final.
We are in party mode because today it's Grand Finals day.
It's time!
Optic Gaming going up against Virtus Pro. Beat him down with the magical burst. They are not messing around today.
Dial it.
Keep it going.
trying to find Roger, but Roger can just turn. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Again, your ESL One major champions.
Undefeated, untouchable, Virtus Pro! They just do it again, and again, and again!
Every time gets me every time. I'll look back and it's fantastic. It was so good in so many ways, actually. As well, we adopted a team because we don't really have really good top pro Dota players unless we adopt them. So what we did is we adopted the Brazilians last year, which is interesting because Chaos now, who were Pain, have now got a British coach. I'm just thinking they might be the favourite team in Birmingham this year.
You hope so. And they had a hell of a run last
They
night.
got they were fueled.
Top four.
Fueled by the fire of the crowd. Yeah, it was excellent.
They really did adopt them. And I think that's it's part of English sports mentalities. We like the underdogs. We adopt them and we like to support them. Likewise, though, I have to say, the entire crowd were very respectful of all the players and all the teams and worshipped the fact that they played some great Dota. I think that's a mark of things that we have wherever we go.
Yeah, I was just going to say that to
me.
I grew up in watching baseball in St. Louis, and there's a very strong culture there that you cheer for great plays. It doesn't like that guy just hit a home run that won the other team the game. It's a bummer, but if it's a great play, you cheer. And that's when you talk about Manila, when you talk about Birmingham, these crowds are cheering for great Dota regardless of what's on the front of the jersey.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've had it here in Katowice many times as well with Counter-Strike as well as Dota last year. Obviously, as long as it's not Virtus Pro you're playing, you're fine. Because if it's Virtus Pro you're playing out here,
well,
sorry, they're cheering for the other team.
Yeah. And you're probably going to lose anyway. So.
Yes. Yep. We should move on. I do have one more question though, and it's a fun question. So thank you to everyone for sending us the questions. I know we're not going to get through all of these because there were just so many. But Mitch sends in a question. Mitch says, "Will we colonize Mars before it actually arrives on Dota 2?"
That's why you were laughing so much. He was before we go. He's like, "I got the best question." He's just chuckling to himself and everything.
That was the build-up.
Of course it would be.
It's a bit.
It's a good one. It's a good one.
Should we call Matt Damon and ask him? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe that's where it is right now. Maybe it is Matt Damon. Maybe Matt Damon is what gets put in.
We're all going to be working out how to grow potatoes, huh?
I'm sure we'll get him within the next like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean it's going to come, isn't it?
Yeah. I would assume.
Do you think
before the
that's what they said.
Before the next major?
All right.
Not in captain's mode though, right?
No.
Oh my God.
Probably not before TI.
No, they've been transitioning heroes.
Valve does like to push people.
Grim was what, 3 months-ish before it was in captains? Second major, right?
Grim was
it was for
pretty quick.
Was it? Was it really?
It was like
that
2 or 3 months. It was
in captain's mode.
I will. If you want to bet me right now, I would.
I don't want to bet.
I would take even odds that Mars will be in CM before TI. Like I'd absolutely take that.
All right. Well, it'd be interesting to find out. We should move on and start talking about our two teams that we've got featured in our second series of the day. If you're just joining us, welcome to ESL One Katowice. We're just having a little bit of fun here as we fill some time in between the two series, waiting for one of those series to finish. FTD have just won a game against 4 Gaming. It's a bit of a shock to most of us on the panel because we didn't expect that, but it's also a surprise to Forward now, and they're going to have to regroup and get back, and they've now got to play OG.
Yeah. Congratulations. You've just had a huge setback, and now you got to play OG. But
OG just lost, though.
Yeah.
Right? So, but OG's a team that I don't know how much the losses really hurt them, especially after we saw TI, right?
I don't think that matters to them. But let's talk about these boys. Where are they right now? Because I looked at these guys after TI and I thought, okay, this is basically the VGJ Storm guys with a brand new player in there who is even stronger.
Right.
Gives them what they were kind of missing without any detrimental to their previous offlaner, but it rounds out the team really nicely now, right?
Again,
and you look at it, and you think they've got world-class carry, world-class mid, world-class offlane, and fantastic supports with plenty of experience. This is a good team.
TI winning coach, even.
TI winning coach, absolutely, and it looks good, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So where has this gone wrong?
Something's not meshing. Something's just not quite there.
How fogged? Because it did a year ago. It worked a year ago.
But that's not the way it works. That's not. So there are two things, right? Dota is not a game where you can take one player on a roster and replace him with a player that everybody thinks is better and be guaranteed that that's going to be an improvement. And that's true for 2 reasons. Number one, you have to look at farm distribution, and you have to look at who's doing what with that gold.
Yeah. Okay.
Universe, that was the wrap on him.
I'm going to absolutely. I think that's worth talking about though. Before we move on, it's worth talking about because it has been a constant criticism of wherever Universe has gone. The gold between those 3 core players has been an issue. Is this not a universe issue now?
I have a hard time being objective where that is concerned because to me, he was the best player around TI5 for EG. I think it is so, if you look at his numbers around that time, it is so unusual for an offlaner to have those kind of premier numbers. What he did was incredible. But yeah, since then, he takes up a lot of space and he hasn't had that same statistical impact.
I just think they haven't been playing to their like usual potential. I'll be totally honest. Like they seem very shaken up in a lot of the games. They have such high ceilings and they aren't even getting close to it.
And that's the other thing that I wanted to talk about when you talk about forward, because we were at several LANs last year with this team, and the one thing I noticed is one of the GESCs, this really hit home. They had a really rough first day, and we sort of passed by them. They were all having dinner as a group after that really first day, and Snaking was doing a lot of the talking.
Yeah.
And people were listening. And that's kind of the thing. When you remove one of those 5 players, you potentially change that entire dynamic. Sure. You change how the team adapts and how the team responds to adversity. And that's kind of the thing. Last year, I thought forward, they responded really well to adversity in the events that we saw.
And I think that's actually a really good point, because now I would say I look at the team and it's way more quiet. Snaking is a very loud person in the game, and he will always talk about, and that actually does, like, because it's not always just to be, it's not good to just be friendly. That's the one thing is, like, Dota, you can't just always be like, hey, good job, you know, you'll do better next time. You have to sometimes be like, hey, like, let's go, let's look at this, like, these things happened. You can't always just be friends. You have to have that guy to make you guys get better.
Whether externally or internally, like, Dota it's such a mentally punishing game. Bad shit happens, and you have to have somebody that is going to be that lightning rod, somebody that's going to be able to absorb all that and start to address it as a group. That's why I think
I'm glad.
I've said over and over, Puppy's so good because he takes a lot of that pressure on himself, and that's what enables these young players to come in.
And I see Puppy say it all the time to them too. I see him all the time at the end of the games. You'll see he's like, they want it, he'll still be like,
no,
pointing and talking.
There is also another player on the other team, by the way. There's a player on the other team that does exactly the same thing, which is NoTail. Let's hear from him right now, who's with Shiva.
Hi, I'm here with none other than NoTail from OG. NoTail, how are you doing this morning?
Very good this morning. Have my coffee, have breakfast. Everything is nice. Ready to play some Dota.
How did you feel about how yesterday went and how your team did in results? A 3-1 score is definitely not bad, but how was it in your experience?
Things were very good. I mean, Secret had like a really good performance in our one game. They played really well. The mid one Pangolier was very good against what we were trying to do. Rough game, but the other games I think we played really well. We saw some cool stuff happening. Like there's a lot to discover still in this patch, and we're just scratching the surface.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing what's coming today. I have a question because obviously we just all recently saw TrueSight, we saw Charlie in there, we saw PP Sorel in there as well, both playing big parts. And now you're here with a different coach, not an unfamiliar face. Soxka is your coach, but what can you tell me about him and the transition to have him with you for this event?
Well, Sox has been a friend of Sebastian for a long time. I know that they've talked about Dota in the past. He's obviously an ex-pro player as well, and it's always good to have a third party look at things from the outside and kind of tell you how they see things, Dota-wise, non-Dota-wise, and kind of give an input. He's still been finding, the rhythm or like how things, work for us and how he can help the best. But so far, it's good. We have a fantastic group of people around us, and yeah, things are very nice.
So basically, a fresh set of eyes.
Exactly, it's a fresh set of eyes and a smart brain behind them, and yeah.
All right, and what are your expectations for today, for day 2? Of course, your first match is against Forward Gaming. What do you think?
Well, we have 2 good opponents today. We're just keeping our heads down, one game at a time, not looking too much at what other people are doing and what we're playing against or who we're playing against. Just kind of making our own thing work, executing, and yeah, just head down, look and keep going.
Eyes on the prize.
Eyes on the prize.
All right, thank you so much for taking the time. I'm going to let you get back to your team to prep, and yeah, good luck today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Back to you, Paul.
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, thanks to NoTail for the time as well. I was obviously recorded a little bit earlier on today. They did sadly go down 2-0 to Gambit,
Yeah.
which makes their first day, it dents them a little bit, Fog, because they're now 3-3, whereas it looked really good on day one. 3-1, we've played Secret as well. That one's out of the way. Gambit have still got to play them. We've got a real shot at the top 2. The loss against Gambit effectively puts them on the back foot now to try and get into those top 2 spots.
Yeah, definitely. But you heard him even in the interview saying, we've just scratched the surface of the patch. That's that's the beauty of these group stages. We're really just starting to learn what the hell we're doing, because there's so much still that can be experimented with.
Okay. And in terms of the way that they played yesterday, bring that forward today. 2 forward gaming's match. They've got to bring that kind of level of play. I know the Gambit thing's kind of outlier, isn't it? Because of what we were talking about earlier with the way that they match up rather badly in OG's favour against that team. Against forward, though, you'd fancy they match up very well.
I do think they match up really well. Again, though, it goes back to something that we were talking about yesterday, that like OG, they have their strats that are incredible. They're sick. They have a very unique understanding of how to exploit certain mechanics in Dota. The question I always ask about OG is that if that strat doesn't go perfectly, if that mechanic doesn't tilt the game in their favor as much as you expect, do they have that backup plan? At TI, that backup plan was something like an Ana Spectre. Like, okay, this 6 strat that we had for the mid game isn't quite working, we're going to be able to go late. Since then, they haven't looked like, if the opponent is able to knock them off their top line strat, they haven't looked like they've had a plan to respond.
Yeah, I mean, in comparison to a Secret, Fogged, who can seemingly adapt and play a various different set of ways. We talked about, they can play the 3-1-1, they can play the 2-1-2, they can play tri-lane, they can play buggering off from mid to play jungle. They can do whatever they want to do, really. Whatever the game dictates, really, they can change. OG don't seem to have quite that depth about their strategy. If they do have a few more heroes in the pool, but they don't have that change of strategy in pace, do they?
No, OG's always seemed like, you were mentioning it before, let's go late. Let's delay the game. And I think that's, like forward kind of does like to do that too. They like to be a little bit more farm heavy, but yeah, I mean, OG are...
So does the last 2 patches lend itself more to OG? Do you think that
well,
it
certainly. Okay, so the sign is unambiguous, right? Because last patch, I mean, the average game time at Chongqing was under 34 minutes, right?
Yeah,
for most of the time. Yeah. Like, that was a very bad patch for OG. This patch, so far, looking a lot better. Like, through the first couple weeks of the patch, average game lengths were up over 2 minutes, which is actually huge in the grand scheme of things.
Doesn't sound much, does it?
But I don't think that the tempo difference in this patch and the previous one is as big in the long run as it's looked so far. I think Midas is being overbought. I think teams are overplaying for the late game in a lot of situations. I think when the dust settles, it's going to be more of a moderate sort of 35 versus 34 minutes. And I don't know if that favors OG enough to get them back to that tier 1 level.
Okay. What is going to change it for them, though? Is it a change of strategy? Is it a different approach, maybe? Trying to find what Alan called the B strat or the C strat, as it were?
I don't even want to say so much the strats. I think it's still just getting comfortable with ILTW a bit. Because they're coming, how long have they been with him now? It's
coming up for 2 months.
It's coming up around
that long.
It's been that long now.
Okay.
Okay. Well, that's a little bit longer than I thought it was.
They played with him for the first time in the minor, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. They did play with him before Chongqing.
So we're getting up to what, 6-7 weeks now?
Yeah, 7 weeks. Okay. Yeah, that's right. But still, I think it still does take time to get used to, get your whole formula together, and there's patches constantly happening. Things always changing, strategy changing, and Noto likes to play his summons heroes, right? So we're going to be seeing these Chens and Enchanters and Furion, so if those are popular, that's where they could be pretty strong.
Yeah, I spoke to Seb yesterday, and he feels that ILTW is now they know enough about him that he's an OG-style player.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's good news, isn't it? Because then they found someone that fits in it. It's a bit like, when you look back and you think, they had Resolution, right? And you think, wow, what a great player to have in this. But he wasn't an OG player, was he? Not that style.
I think it's less about style, and I think it's just more about trust.
Okay.
I mean, that's what I meant when I said you can't just plug in that one big hero. It's like Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. You have to build that trust.
I have no idea what you're talking
about. Oh, all right.
I'm not Kyle.
No, I'm
NFL.
Kyle, I know.
NFL.
Sorry, I'm not Kyle.
NFL. Let's move on from NFL to draft, because we're almost underway. In fact, we are underway with a couple of mans.
First phase Lone Druid.
Druid, Prophet and a Druid.
That's not what I thought we would see in this series.
Okay.
Have they?
Yeah, they haven't played.
They have not run. I don't think they've run
Lone Druid. They have. Resolution.
They ran it last game.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
but that was the last game, but that was the only game that they've run Lone Druid in the last 2 patches.
I believe so.
No. Because
I just looked at
Rezo's played it.
He played it in the last game. That's the only time that they've run it in the last 2 patches. Well, that Dota may be wrong. Yeah,
I've got him playing at least 2 games of it in the last month.
But here's the thing. I think Lone Druid is a hero that can give OG a lot of problems in terms of, again, he's a hero that if you're able to win fights in the mid game, can convert those objectives.
Yep. Chen obvious ban. Lifestealer's been coming up.
He played it 14 days ago.
Yeah, there you go.
All right. Paul's right. Oh,
unusually.
I didn't refresh. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's unplugged. Yeah. It makes sense.
I'm just gonna award myself a nice award for that. That's let me just write that down.
And like I was mentioning,
One up over
the summons heroes, of course, forward's gonna ban out too.
Yeah. Nahaz, Red Eye.
Nahaz was left.
Red Eye.
Put a hashtag in front of that.
There we go. 1 ups over Nahaz, Red Eye Rocks. I've got that saved. It's good.
Are you gonna?
Happens so rarely that it's worth writing down.
I'll be here to fact check. I'll be here to make sure that you get them right.
Thanks, buddy. I appreciate it.
So one of the things that when you look back over forward drafts that really strike you is they're just there's no identity.
Yeah.
They're really a team in search of
But at least they're in meta though. They are playing meta heroes.
They're testing things.
Yeah.
They yesterday they're like, all right, Grimstroke, it lost, and they're like, all right, no more Grimstroke.
Yeah.
Now they're switching. They're like, all right, Crystal Maiden. They won the game, the first game, and then they lost the second one with it. So, it's experimentation. It's still trying to learn, but they really gotta pull these wins out here for themselves. At least what they need at least. God, what are they at right now?
They are at
1 and
1 and
2 and 4.
1 and 5.
1 and 5, I think.
No, they're 2. They have 2. They won over.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. So they're 2 and 4. They were 1 and 3 after yesterday.
Sorry, 2-4.
So
Yeah.
Okay, so that's not as bad as I thought it was.
Yeah. Okay. 2 and 4.
So they ideally won at least one.
It's the same as Mineski right now, which is going to prove to be potentially the decider between those two teams. Yeah.
So they absolutely want to go 1-1 here.
Yes.
At least.
At least 1-1. They can't afford to drop
they can't
another
afford
one.
to drop one. So they banned out the Monkey King too. I think that's appropriate ban. I think. Yeah.
So
Mineski is taking on Gambit, by the way.
Are we going to see an Ench? Are we going to see something like an Enigma?
Coddle's still in the pool.
Yeah.
I think Coddle's probably going to be the first pick. Yep.
Has been a very stable
I think
pick.
forward could even first pick it.
Yeah.
I look back. I still like that they had an Enigma Lush open that I quite liked.
I was confusing myself for some reason. I was like, wait.
OG first.
Yeah.
So what do you think about Giannis? What do you think about Coddle in this patch?
Coddle seems super strong. He's like a little bit weak. He still pressures in lanes, but he's a little bit weak. But then mid game hits and he's like this king.
I think
his team fights are crazy.
I think the one big thing that I look at with Coddle is that he's no longer this S tier late game hero because Refresher no longer does nearly as much. You can't offset the wisps.
You can go for other items. That's the thing is you can go for like your Hex. I saw the Hex yesterday versus I think it was like a Storm Spirit, and he has this plus 350 cast range with a Hex. He's in the tree lines and he hexes this guy from like 1,000 range. I was like, oh my god, that's actually insane. So now you have other items you can go for, which I still think is value as the hero because I don't think of the heroes only the Will-O-Wisp. I think that hero, the Chakra is incredibly powerful, and the Blinding Light are insane inside of team fights.
I hadn't thought of that, and that's going to be the big thing for me as we go on in this patch, that Coddle's a hero that's always going to get a lot of gold. Can he do as much with that gold as when we saw Refresher in the last patch? If the answer is yes, then he's going to be good.
It's going to be a little bit different. He's not going to be an AoE massive, like just OP, like this crazy, it's like a black hole that's not channeling, pretty much.
So we were just looking at these numbers, Giannis, before this draft, and Ember Spirit is crushing in this event, and his numbers in the previous patch were actually awesome.
73% win rate right now.
Do you think that this is a first phase hero this patch?
He is starting to seem like it. He really is.
Why is he?
I know, yeah. No, it's like the little like slight buffs. The things I've been seeing with people like using slight early on now too, because it's getting changed a lot. Seems really interesting to secure range creeps. Jug is actually a hero that I think I just looked at that. I think he's been losing most, right?
He's really struggled.
Yeah, Jug has been a bit rough.
But he is with the combo. I think
the
Jug is a bit of a difference.
And this is something that they've been doing. Yes. This is a definitive forward first two.
By the way, that's a hugely smart Nyx Assassin ban. I have seen these like Lich Nyx Assassin tri-lanes are just
horrid.
Oh yeah, I mean you have a Coddle and an Ember on your team too. I think you have to ban Nyx when you're playing with these two. You kill your Coddle, you're easily hunted. Ember Spirit, you're easily hunted. It's a great ban. As forward, another one of No-Tail's heroes taking out the Enchantress too.
I think that's an overban though, because I think No-Tail has generally been the one playing Coddle.
It has a Dispel for the Lich.
Good call.
Yeah,
good call.
The Enchant Dispel is pretty annoying for Frost Shield.
So we're looking at potentially an Oracle for OG.
Ooh. Is that a Pango ban?
Perhaps actually. That is a Pango ban.
Yeah.
So I think
Because the other thing is that Oracle could be a pick for. You probably don't want to run Lich Oracle as your two supports, but I like Oracle against Ember for reasons that we talked about in the last series.
Oh, Oracle's Ember hates playing versus Oracle. So Pango ban makes sense after what happened yesterday, right? They ran an anti-mage and this Pango lucky shot was brutal. So they have an Ember Spirit, kind of similar.
You know who's still? You know who's still in the pool for OG third? Magnus.
OD.
Oh, how have they been? Have they been playing around it too much lately? Not as
They
much.
played Mag
but a couple
OD and
times.
they played Mag OD in one of the Mag Ember in one of those games against Alliance.
But you heard what Seb said yesterday, right?
What's that?
That
he doesn't like Magnus as much. Yeah.
No, the patch hurt him.
Yeah, but he's still.
He's still
a favorite.
good, but it's
still
not
a favorite.
the way it was.
The skewer's
And
slow.
He's a big
like,
mag player.
Yeah.
Skewer is now like scale. Everything has just gotten hit on that hero.
Yeah.
Skewer still
I
slows
think
attack speed though.
He was over nerfed. Yeah.
Which doesn't say, but does slow attack speed. The
Oh,
CK
and
actually made it this
The
far.
OD was the other one I was surprised it got through the second phase for both teams. Actually, they both like it.
What were you saying, Giannis? CK?
CK just got banned. I didn't notice actually that he was
by forward. But yeah, the OD is the other hero that both of these teams love running.
I think the Ursa is one. The thing is, they already have the Jug.
Yeah.
Damn. Because I see Ember. Whenever I see Ember, I just think this Ursa, and he can just run over.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But how with the Jug, maybe not.
Don't
forget there was
Monkey
there was
King is still available.
He's banned.
There was a brilliant
He's
bait
banned,
on
okay.
this Ember yesterday, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, where they pulled out a Meepo in the final. It
That was Chaos.
Chaos,
did
yeah.
that,
That was
That's what I'm
Chaos.
saying. Yeah, they had this early Ember, and everyone was like, "Oh, okay, early Ember. Yeah, we can counter that." All the focus went onto that, and then last pick Meepo, and then they were like, "Oh."
And it's true, Mr.
I want to ask
Yeah,
you
it
about
was
this
very
Beastmaster hero, though, Fog, because this is a hero that, to me, in the last patch, if there's Mag.
There's the Mag. Good call.
In the last patch, I looked at Beastmaster, and like Beastmaster and anything to me was an awesome open. I don't feel that way about him in this patch. I just feel like he's not looked nearly as fast.
Which things did he get hit by? He got hit by a couple. I can't remember the exact things. I know the Hawk got changed.
None of it. It
The
was
board
weird
damage
because-
got changed.
Yeah,
Well,
the
we're
board
going back
damage.
like a few patches though, right?
I've got to like look just to make sure I know exactly which ones it is. It is Inner Beast got nerfed, Hawk got nerfed, Talents got changed. He got hit a lot.
Yeah.
Rubic,
Quite a lot got hit on him.
man, I'm telling you. I don't know if you want to run Oracle and Coddle, but that could be disgusting.
Rubic Beastmaster, so it's putting pressure on that side, that off lane.
Could just
They've got playmakers
could
now.
go Jerax Earth Spirit still.
Yeah, I mean, the Oracle versus Beastmaster. I keep looking. The
I-
Omni Knight
Oracle is
versus
just-
the Beastmaster.
Oh my God, that would actually be well.
That won't do it. It's versus Rubic too, but that would have been funny.
Give me Oracle or Earth Spirit though, for sure.
Yeah, both those look pretty solid.
I guess you could like go Tiny, like support Tiny.
Yeah. I mean, it's an
No.
MSS.
Wow.
All right, they're saving it. I
I
guess they're.
on the other side, but
They did. Okay, so they
This is-
did
you
last
don't know
pick
if-
Oracle yesterday.
This could be. You don't know where Magnus is right now. This could be
Yeah.
Jerax.
Could be
this
support
could be
Matt,
Matt.
okay.
Right.
I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
I think they're leaving it still like a little bit. Yeah, like you said, they did last 9th pick, the Oracle.
And
Where to forward go then? With the they've got.
I do think the lanes for forward are good though.
Yeah, they've got two great
Absolutely.
supports.
They've got pressure lanes.
Pressure on the off lane.
I mean, if I'm coaching forward right now, I'm totally happy with this draft so far.
Definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
they've got the Rubic. The thing I was mentioning yesterday was if you see Coddle, I want you to
Rubic.
try to get the Rubic, right?
Yeah.
They got the Rubic versus the Coddle and the Magnus, which is cool. And then
Okay,
they-
so just to check my own understanding, exactly why? I think we agree on why, but why do you like Rubic so much against Coddle?
He's a better Cottle, isn't he?
you have great ways to get that Willow.
Yeah.
You really do.
Okay. Okay.
You just you will always have a good way to get that Willow.
Okay. So it's kind of what I thought, but I actually think Rubic can make use of a lot of the steals that
Yeah,
he's going to get. He can make
definitely.
use of all the
All of the abilities
yeah.
are great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All the abilities are great.
But
same
the
thing with-
Wisp steal is just so amazing.
The Wisp is amazing. Magnus is kind of similar. Anything you get is pretty good.
Yeah.
Shockwaves, a lot of damage. Empower, probably maybe even better
Yeah.
than like anything. RP
I think to a lesser extent, because the thing that I was going to say is that when I see Rubic picked against Coddle, people talk a lot about the old steel, and I actually think Illuminate and Blinding Light are both really good steals too. Like,
yeah, Blinding
huge.
Light's amazing.
Yeah.
Blinding Light is absolutely amazing.
And there is the tiny. They did
Yep.
pivot back for that.
Great call.
Man, all right.
And the Oracle ban by forward.
Yeah, you got to do that.
Yeah.
So what do we? This is a we need a UR hero here for forward?
The OD ban was
The
what we
OD
were
ban
talking
was
about earlier.
sick.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to do that.
It's been UR's favourite over the last month as well. He's still got a few left in there though. Mirana, DK, Ursa's still there.
He's been a big Pugna guy lately too.
There's still
although
an
not
Ursa.
necessarily.
Want something to bring them together. It's like so they can actually group up and use this Beastmaster, use this healing ward, use this push that they kind of have.
What about the Ducer?
Ooh, Duce
Not
feels like
crazy about that
it's
hero
too.
right now.
I think it might be too slow.
Okay.
The Ursa is weird because all right.
2 for Paul.
I just think I like the hero on paper.
Okay.
I mean, it's Dusa against 4 melee heroes in Coddle.
Yep.
But I think you're gonna get run off the map.
Okay. It's an interesting draft on both sides though. Fogged. So there's got some logic behind it, hasn't it? On both sides.
Yeah, that's the hero.
Does Dusa get online in this game? Can she? I mean, can she fight in this game with like three Wraith Bands, Yasha, 3 Wraith Bands?
The thing is, they have a lot of pressure coming from side lanes, right? Lich Jug is pretty strong pressure. Beastmaster, Rubic should be able to put pressure to make space for the Dusa.
The more I think about it, like this might be a
okay.
situation where, like what we saw for Nisha's Naga, where is Medusa really going to get pressured here?
But it seems okay. I just don't like Medusa too much in the patch, and I think Ember, it just looks like a much more dominant mid-game hero that could just run over. So I'm liking a little bit more what OG's doing.
I tell you what, this is much more even than I thought it would be going into the draft.
Does a lot come down to this mid matchup, or is the game going to go elsewhere?
I think you watch Medusa's farm. And
yeah, we watch
matters
Medusa's farm
more than anything else.
Yeah. All right. Good stuff. Thank you very much. Time to head over to our commentators for series number 2. Thank you for your patience as well. Hope you enjoyed the Q&A sessions a little bit earlier on, but it's time to get underway in our first game. Gents, are you ready?
Very ready. I'm very much looking forward to this because, I mean, I feel like it's OG who've been kind of on the up this tournament and Forward who've kind of been on the decline. It is not
What do you make of the draft, though, boys?
I mean, I'm always a fan of Magnus +1 lineups because I think that it's very easy to execute. But at the same time, I kind of agree with Cap and Forward being a little bit shakier than we're used to seeing.
All right, well, enjoy. Take us away.
OG versus Forward. You know, at the start of this tournament, this could have been looked at as Forward being the favorites. I mean, after all, this is a really star-studded lineup, and it just hasn't... They haven't really hit, like, great success, and at this tournament, it seems like they've just been bottoming out.
Yeah, Forward for me anyways is like, it's kind of sad because if you look at their roster and what they achieved last year, and you think of like that 1-to-1 swap, like we moved Snake King, a lot of people would agree that Universe would be considered an upgrade over Snake King. I mean, he's a TI winner, consistent success, and what we always learn about Dota is it's never that easy. Right. Just having that 1-to-1 swap. Like when they moved, remember when Secret moved Misery and Weehaw for Artesian Universe, a lot of people would agree that that was an overall upgrade in skill, but look how much of a tumble they took as a result of that. It's these things you don't really quite realize what somebody brings to the table. Like maybe Snake King as a personality was easier to handle. Not saying that Universe is difficult to work with, but maybe it just fit them.
Everything I've heard, it would have been the opposite.
I heard Universe is a very easy person to work with, but you don't know the hidden things that somebody brings. It's like the Moo for Moon swap, right?
Yeah.
It's all these little things that you never really quite think about. It's not that the player is necessarily worse, it's the fit that matters in Dota. That's why, in my opinion, like Aster, for example, you look at that team individually, if you were to list it one by one, you're thinking to yourself, that's a pretty good team. And
you know, it was a discussion on the panel. They were talking about every team that Universe is on, it becomes a problem of the cores and how you actually split up the farm.
Yeah, because Universe is a very specific player.
Okay.
Like I think Universe is somebody that he's a playmaker, but at the same time, like you need to give him a prerequisite amount of farm. Because when I think of Universe, I think of like the Earthshakers, the Darkseers, the Faceless Voids, like the ones that need a little bit more.
And that's saying it's not necessarily like Universe is being a dick and he's like, I want farm, give me time. Like, it's also, he's just an accomplished enough and talented enough player that you want to give him those kind of roles, right?
You can't, the thing about Dota is like your pub history matters so much. If you've been playing a certain style competitively and in pubs like a certain way, you can't. It's really hard to switch out of it.
Yeah.
That's why we don't see like we see role swaps, but we see them within like the 1 or 2 position swaps. That's like what Liquid does, for example. But you don't see people just like completely change. That only happens when you have a veteran of like 10 years that really understands how to play support.
Right.
You know, Arteezy always jokes, he's like, one day, you know, in like 3 years when I've gotten third at my like 18th TI, I'm going to finally play 5 position.
Resolution is going to be playing a Juggernaut with SVG Lich top lane. We see in this bottom lane an Ember Spirit Coddle versus the Beastmaster. And we've talked so much for Universe. He's backed up by MSS's Rubic. What do you think about this this duo, and how do you think MSS has actually transitioned from an offlaner into a 4?
Oh, I mean, he was always a 4. That's what, remember the, oh, I just hold that thought as Seb almost gets killed, but remember when he was on that Liquid squad with Fluff in them and he was ringing for them?
Yeah.
He was mainly playing 4 in that role. So I think this is more of his natural roots. And then he played mid for EG. Remember the roster with Fogged? Shout out to Fogged. That was a terrible roster, no offense. I remember they played at that MLG tournament that Speed ended up winning, and they were garbage.
Yeah. And even when he was playing 3 position, like it was a very aggressive, sacrificial.
Yeah, I think he's the type of player that just needs to run at people.
Yeah.
Like even when he was playing mid, I recall very strongly that Spirit was his hero in the mid lane. Like who plays? Back then it was doable, remember, because you could do the kick trick.
Yeah.
Broken piece of. But.
Jerks trying to make sure that SVG can't get any pulls here. This should be a pretty good lane for Magnus, right? Like, you've got an offlaner that can actually deal with the pressure of the Lich slow plus Juggernaut spin.
Yeah. What makes offlane, I think, really interesting is, like, it depends on what... The matchup depends on, like, can you kill the offlaner or not? Like, how easy it is.
Yeah.
Because if you can... You know, if Seb knows that he can't die because he's got Skewer, he can play however he wants.
He can play more aggressively.
Yeah, he can
get a lot more CS.
As long as he's got like 250 health and he's got Skewer up, he can play as aggressively as he wants.
Yeah, and it naturally snowballs, right? It means you're not getting denied any of that CS. You're getting the stats you need.
Yeah, and then once Mac gets 3, actually I guess 4, you get that level of Empower, and then it makes it really hard for this melee carry to just sit there as Jerax is getting chased down a little bit. Gets down to 15 health.
Will be able to survive, it looks like.
They're doing that thing. Do you see?
But yeah, the toss of the range creeps. You can see that up there in the Radiant off lane. They've keep on tossing the range creeps over to deny them away from forward. Now, eventually forward's going to be able to kill those, but at least for the laning phase, it's going to be a pain.
That's so silly.
It really is.
That?
Yes.
Does that bother you?
Does it bother you that you can do that? Kind of. I mean, it's just one of those things, like, it works right now, but it's a cheesy mechanic that's going to get patched out. You know it is. That's why initially I refused to play Chaos Knight, because I was like, this is stupid broken. This is going to get changed.
I mean, the thing about it is exploit the game how you can until it gets changed, right?
Yeah.
It's like you can't blame Na'Vi for doing the hook thing, right? If you have a problem with it.
Well, if you were Loda, you could blame them.
I can understand, though. I mean, they ended up winning that tournament. Did they? Well, no, that was TI2, right? I can't remember.
I think that was TI.
Was it the one when he was on Zenith? I think it was when he was on Zenith. Oh.
Oh.
They actually get a first blood on the Ember Sphere, which is a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh.
Beastmaster pressure is just too much. Seb.
They're swinging.
A lot of damage, but
again,
he still has
he's
Skewer
fine.
at any point in time.
Yeah, he doesn't really care about this. Yeah. So Jerax can continue to just do this toss trick.
And thanks to the stats of Empower, you could see Seb is 17-0 right now. Plenty of CS for an offlaner. Compare that to like the Ember Spirit, who's 17-1. Seb is going to finally skewer, but he actually picks up Resolution. Resolution managed to get in front of him, and that's going to be a successful kill. Toss back of the Lich. Not going to be quite... Oh, it did. It's one tower shot, but only one. So SVG will also survive.
A little bit of an issue there, as Rezo is actually just going to straight up go for the bounty runes. Jerax is going to pick up one of them, but I guess it's the other prerequisite that we didn't really list, is you can't skewer somebody back with you. You got to make that trip solo.
The panel did say that the biggest thing that we're going to be watching for this game is Medusa's farm. How do you think that this game's going to play out for Forward? Like they were talking about like, is this going to be enough time? Is the Dusa going to be able to come online fast enough?
The interesting thing is that both lineups, I think, have like slow paces in some ways.
Yeah.
Like OG, when you play Mag plus any melee core with like Troll and stuff, you want to abuse the fact that you're giving up a free Battle Fury, right? You don't want to just immediately fight with that hero. Having it doesn't mean you want to just continue to get further ahead. Like having the Empower doesn't mean like, okay, I'm ready to fight now. It's like, okay, I'm ready to hit Ancient Creeps for like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
But that also allows the Dusa to get farm. The good news, I think, for Forward's lineup is that they do have heroes that can play quick around this Dusa. Like this Beastmaster, I think Universe will determine the majority of this game. If Universe can get online fast enough, make these moves with his Vlads, you take this bottom tier 1 tower early enough, then you can start playing the mid area and just playing this like harass game. Then I think it's actually quite nice is...
Ooh, Jarex.
Doesn't have mana?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Just didn't have mana for toss.
He was short by...
5 mana? Rough.
I don't think Yawar dies anyways. He's got a Fairy Fire plus he had full H.
Yeah.
And he's got Mana Shield on.
It is remarkable how similar these lineups are, right? They both have like kind of a hard carry mid that's going to scale into the game. They both have a natural accelerator out of their offlaner. Beastmaster enables the Dusa to come online faster with his aura. You've got the Empower for the Troll. And then both of them have a safe lane that is a big space creator that comes online pretty early, is able to get, you know, just kind of run around the map solo and free to kill whatever he finds.
That's what I'd like to see out of Rezo this game. I know typically the meme is like, you know, for protect Rezo.
Yeah.
But I think Rezo should be aggressive in this game. Like he can't play his typical style, I think, of just trading out farm. I feel like when you have a Deuce on your team, she's such an immobile hero. Wherever she goes, she's not going anywhere else. She's just going to march down that lane, just sort of sit there as like this unwavering target.
Yeah.
And Rezo thinking about just...
All right, now he's going to start killing some of those range creeps, or at least the ones that he can reach.
He can get them, don't worry.
You can get all of them.
Move to the left. There you go. Side to side now.
You will be forever.
He's got him.
And so in the end, did it really affect his laning phase?
It did in the short term, right? Because it brought Seb's lane back.
But they still managed to kill Seb.
Yeah.
Jarex is now just a Roman machine.
I don't think of Mag. I mean, Mag and Beastmaster are obviously two different heroes.
Universe going to be caught here. The Avalanche is going to come out. Triple Remnant. Espada. ILTW not quite enough to be able to finish off Universe. The blast in there goes. No-Tail's going to be able to get him.
Look at Rezo, though. Early rotation. This is what
nice
I said.
TP, though, from No-Tail.
Yeah, he's good. You want this guy to be aggressive, though. Rezo, like, he just has to be the one to make moves. Dusa just hits this triangle of farm and just sits there. Like, she's going to get really far ahead as a result. I've seen too many Dusa games in my pubs. Dusa gets a little bit behind. You farm out this area. You get the early levels of the split shot. You just get 1 level of the mana shield. You're fine. You can hit 3 camps at once.
SVG managed to cut through the tree. Might be able to get away. Jarex does manage to get the toss. Universe is here, slowing him down with the boar. Kind of body blocking SVG, but it doesn't matter. OG already trying to retreat, and they do have the TP in of the Rubic. Nice toss away from Jarex, but MSS is there to claim the kill.
Yeah. Now they're going to switch things up a little bit as Seb going to get this lane against Universe, who's only level 5 as a result of the long amount of time that they were dual laning for.
So right now, Forward do have a bit of a lead off of this laning phase.
Yeah, but it's this bottom lane now where who do you really sit down here? I guess they can just send the Ember again because the Beastmaster has already shown top. Normally what ends up happening is they both try to take this tower down, and that's exactly what's going to happen is ILTW sees, okay, it's just a Jug by himself. I shouldn't really be that afraid.
But in the 1-to-1 laning phase, like, isn't that still going to be... If Ember Spirit's just kind of like stuck here in this lane against Jug, isn't Forward going to be more happy with that?
Yeah, I think so. Because you still know that your Deuce is getting farm in the jungle.
Yeah.
Like, whenever you have these ancient hitters or these people that can just farm in that jungle early on, it makes it so that MSS, for example, can just sit mid, soak XP, get that early
LTW
sit.
trying to blow up SVG thanks to the toss back from Jarex, and once again, No-Tail is there to clutch the kill.
I don't think SVG should be down here. I don't think he serves any purpose. Because Rezo doesn't really need his help, and they're not going to have any kills, right? Like, you're not going to kill an Ember.
Yeah. Resolution getting aggressive here, knowing the Ember Spirit doesn't have a whole lot of remnants left, just one of them.
You might just go for No-Tail instead?
No. Rezo still has that Omni Slash. He could have used it on No-Tail, but maybe feeling like he didn't have enough damage on a full health support. Jarex does manage to get the toss in the chains as well. Rezo turns around. Oh, no! Ooh. That wasn't the play they wanted off of Jarek's Resolution.
That's rough. That was well done, though. They baited it.
He just delivered
For
the
a second,
kill.
I was like, Jarek's, you mother... I would have been so mad if I was ILTW and I died that way, but had the Remnant up the entire time. They knew what they were doing. And now the kill threat is entirely removed. So being down here, I think, is kind of a no point. That's why I wanted to see somebody mid. And that Yawar now, as a result of the Rubic not being here, or the Lich not being here, has to come back from the jungle camp to defend his tower.
Mid lane. Thinking about trying to pressure Yawar, but TP in from Universe. They have to back away bottom. They are going to be able to run down No Tail. Sleight of fist bouncing around. Jarek's almost enough to be able to finish off MSS. He needs another swing, but now slowed down by SVG. It's the Amber Spirit who's going to be able to claim his life with the sleight of fist, but he's been caught by the Beastmaster. Skewer away, put him on the high ground. Resolution can't get the damage immediately. Another slide is going to dodge sometime, but he's completely out of mana. Won't be able to escape forward. Forward just controlling so much of this bottom lane. OG, do you think they should even be in this situation?
No, I don't think they should have gone bot.
Yeah.
I feel like you just mirror and go top and allow your supports to get some levels. You can move the troll with them power off that lane and let Seth take that lane instead. I mean, I know why they rotated in, because they wanted to punish the fact that 2 supports were bottom, but then Inducer just came back in, made the correct play instead of just hitting Ancients. Like, I think right now the play is for one of the supports, like MSS most likely, to just TP into this mid lane and then just sit there and pull off the creep wave, allow your Inducer to get farmed, punish the fact that OG made that play at bottom. I would have preferred the Rubic because I think he can nuke the creep wave a lot easier, but he went top instead, which is fine too. Like, you're gonna enable both of your supports now, which is what you wanted on the side of OG, and that's what that mirror would have allowed you to have. But now it's kind of slowed down as a result. Now Seb's gonna take this top lane instead of one of the supports. It makes it a little bit harder now for Jarek's to get back in. Like, if you look at Jarek's, he's level 4.
Yeah.
It's 12 minutes in. He's gonna do some Tosh shenanigans.
Riz like, okay, you stalled my farm for 2 seconds. Congrats.
And you still got the big campus. ILTW sees the healing ward placed down. Rezo's still going to come into this because he can always just...
Spinning now on Jarek. Snowtail is ready to go. Now the magic immunity is gone. They have the TP covered. The Magnus is going to be here in time. Not quite fast enough. Resolution managed to dodge the skewer. They're going to pull him back in here as the Will-O-Wisp comes out. Resolution is going to be stuck here for a while, but he does have SVG and Universe waiting in the wings. Just
now.
Might be able to protect him. Resolution protects himself with that magic immunity, but now Thompson. Ooh, Primal War is going to be able to stop all that physical damage that was going to come in. The Chain Frost bouncing around, but the Lich is now dead. These two are quite low. Thompson is going to be able to pop his ultimate, the Omni Slash, as well as now that hold from Yawar. Thompson is going to die eventually here, but maybe he can actually finish off the deuce. He does! Right before he goes down, ILTW is now going to chase these very low health heroes. Universe on one side, where we've got the Juggernaut trying to make his way out of here. Universe is definitely stuck, but Resolution managed to juke his way out of the Ember Spirit's grasp.
Wow, and he went by the creep wave too, the neutrals, so that if ILTW tried to chance the
slight into chains.
Yeah, but he didn't have it anyways. Yeah. So it's fine. But a good overall fight. That could have been even better for 4 if they just committed to helping the Dusa. I think it's because you get tricked into thinking, oh, well, the Troll's got one hit.
Yeah.
Oof.
You're like, that ultimate's going to wear out eventually.
That's a mistake.
That is going to be a problem later on to the game, right? How effective that Stone Gaze is against the Troll. It's just a really great way to peel and delay the Troll's effectiveness during that ult.
That's why they took Dusa, right? Against 2 melee cores.
Yeah.
I know some people say, like, well, Troll's technically arranged.
Later on, he doesn't want to be.
No. You want to bash people, guys? Don't you want to bash people? Do you just deny him? Nice. As Rezo is now going to sit mid. Both teams, if you watched our cast yesterday, protecting this mid tower, doing a very good job of that, trying not to concede it. I feel like OG now should try to either all in for this mid tower or go to top with 3 heroes, kind of create that area, like play around where your ward vision is.
And MSS doing, as you said, protecting that safe lane tower. It seems like to me, no matter what it is, off lane, mid, when you have a tower advantage, it seems like the team that has the tower advantage always defends.
Yes, you should, because you have this inherent advantage now that you know people have to move through. But I think that OG should have just gone top, taken that top, or commit for this mid. Like, all in for it. Just bring 4 heroes.
SVG was spotted for a moment. Slight hits him. Resolution is the one who cops the chains.
But
this is going to be the mid tower falling.
Yeah. Now I think you try to go for top. But they're instead just going to go into this Roche pit. I guess they have Vlad's plus Empower. They think they're strong enough.
Bold.
It is, because they haven't even taken that top tower. And SVG pings his team. They smoke up. They got to go fast, though. Nope. They've got plenty of time.
Yeah, this is going to take a while for Thompson to do it all by himself. The Hawk is going to come in, give them plenty of vision, which is, again, kind of another curious fact that OG are just willing to go straight into the Roshan pit, despite the fact that Forward can get that clear vision out from the Hawk.
Yeah, this is really bold. Like, I can't believe they went for that. Maybe you can do it, but it feels like such an unnecessary risk when you could just go for that top tower instead. And
RP out of Juggernaut, going to be able to pull him into Thompson. Rezo still alive, though. He's going to be survived thanks in part to that Lich Frost Shield. Jarix comes in from behind, will be able to do a lot of damage to the supports. That's going to be the Lich down MSS at half health. Great Will-O-Wisp, but Primal Roar out from Universe is going to be able to stall the Ember Spear's damage. That was going to follow up that Will-O-Wisp. It was able to pull Yuar in one more time, and now he's going to be chased down by Seth as well as Thompson. No ensnares just yet. There it is. Double kill for ILTW, and finally, OG get the team fight that they wanted all along off of that very forceful attempt at Roshan.
That was so funny. Like, Jarix actually just walked in behind everybody, just casually struts in, gets a 4-man stun toss, and then just kind of walks out. And as a result, that fight just completely turns around Forward. And that was hilarious. He actually just kind of strolled through without a care in the world. And now they're going to get the Roshan as a result of that fight win.
Do you think that was like you look at this lineup, Forward with the Beastmaster, the greediness of having Beastmaster and Medusa, this very awkward, like 15 to 20 minute, like neither one of them really does anything. You could see why OG would be willing to force a fight any way they could.
It was just a really awkward engagement for 4 too. Like, the Beastmaster roars, but the rest of his team is cut off by that beautiful Will-O-Wisp.
Yeah.
That made it so that the roar was completely nullified. They couldn't take advantage of that.
Oh, that was an oddly slash. Saw that one on the mini map. Resolution hopping around. Looks like he tried to go for Jarix.
The tilt tip.
Oh, OG. You
got
out Aegis and 1,000 net worth lead.
No-Tail's Will-O-Wisp was so clutch there, though.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that he was able to just completely cut off that fight. The 2 supports from OG definitely won that one for them. Who did Beastmaster roar? I think he roared...
He roared the Ember Spirit because he basically wanted to stop the damage that was going to come from the Will-O-Wisp.
But that's really their only hard lockdown aside from the lift. I guess you can count Gaze, but SVG isn't tanky enough to 5-on-5 walk in full duration Gaze anybody. And he doesn't even have it leveled yet. So their only real hard disable aside from the lift, which, you know, is okay, but is going to be your roar. And once that's down, OG, even though they didn't have Mag RP, their heroes can actually still fight with the Will-O-Wisp, with the Tiny walking in behind everybody.
OG are not immediately going to try and use this Aegis to push down towers or anything. The Troll had an Ancient stack to go through. They're letting the Ember Spirit just kind of play his own game, while the 2 supports as well as the offlaner of OG going to try and secure their own jungle a bit. Clear the way for Thompson. You can see Thompson spent quite a lot of time getting his net worth out of the jungle, thanks in part to the Magnus and the stacking of Ancients. There was a lot of heroes forced down to that bottom lane.
That's a free tier 1 now.
OG are just getting all kinds of free towers.
That's the benefit that having that Aegis gives you.
Yeah.
Is they're just not going to really contest. It looks like they're going to grab this tier 2 tower up at top for free. I'd like to see Forward play this a little bit quicker and just have people committed to taking that bottom tower. I think at this point you have to go for the trade.
And OG maximizing the space they've got here, pushed in both mid while joining Thompson to hit top lane. They don't want to get too greedy and spread themselves too far around the map.
Yeah, it's a neat move by OG. They're playing very decisively. They pushed in this mid lane too, just in case they want to try to go for a 2-for-1. And they're smoked up, but I mean, it's unlikely that anybody from Forward just goes up there. And it even looks like a high ground broach.
Yeah, the high ground just to force Forward back, right? And it may be an opportunity for ILTW to catch somebody, but rather he's caught by Universe with the Primal Ward hidden inside of the tree.
Nice.
They are going to be able to take away that Aegis, but the tier 3 is dropping fast. This cannot be worth it.
Get out, get out.
ILTW is very happy with this situation. He's going to be able to join up at the top lane. We're going to see the Will-O-Wisp come out once again. Yuar does manage to get off the Stone Rise. He was running out of mana. He gets the stall. Will be able to stay alive a little bit longer, but the Will-O-Wisp is holding him there. The RP comes down. down onto the Juggernaut as he tries to spin in. Thompson is staying alive, and he is fighting Resolution to the death. And death it is for Rezo. He falls, a buyback immediately out of UR's Medusa as he watches his core go down. He's got to find a way to be able to defend these Raxes, but they just don't have the damage anymore. UR doesn't have the damage by himself, and Universe already using that Primal War. They have no hold. A nice jump in from Seth. Skewer back. That's going to be Universe dead as well. Now SVG on the front lines is going to be able to grab Ember Spirit. Buys a little bit of time, but MSS almost died to the Ember Spirit. ILTW jumps away last second. Jarek's jumping in now to make sure that ILTW stays alive. The Mystic Snake comes out. It doesn't kill Jarek's either.
Thompson's getting back in.
OG are pushing this to the limit right now.
All right, everyone's got like 100.
Oh, they're gonna skewer back. UR's gonna tie back. Unbelievable. OG. They play it to the bitter ends that they could.
If you combine all 4 of their HPs, aside from No Tails, they have like a combined 300. That
Holy shit, that was such an outplay.
You got styled on so hard right there. Oh my.
OG are feeling themselves.
That's when you know. They were not afraid of anything. They're like, all our cores have like 100 health. No problem. You see Thompson run in, he would die to a snake. He just keeps baiting him closer and closer so that Seb can blink back, bring him back in. Oh, that was mechanically so well done. Jeez. Like the impact difference that you're feeling between this Magnus, even though he went for that 1 RP, it didn't really lead to anything. Like he's taking the opportunities to just go for it consistently. And as a result, it's paying off. It was like Universe, I feel bad for him because I think this game is pretty rough for Beastmaster. If you're your only lockdown, I always say it, like if you're the only lockdown, you're always gonna look bad because everything relies on you.
We're gonna see that again. I mean, it was just a brilliant setup by OG at the start. It kind of forced Forward to split up in some ways. And
it's the fact that they used the gate, they controlled the Dusa long enough so that her gaze came out at the tail end of her mana pool.
Yeah.
So that even when they turned into stone, they couldn't fight.
Jump back in live here to watch Universe die again. You're right, this is not a fun Beastmaster game.
No.
Will-O-Wisp is going to come out as Rezo doesn't have the spin to protect himself. Manta away, but still going to get pulled one more time. The TPs are going to complete here from
MSS
OG. MSS, nice. Will-O-Wisp stolen. And a telekinesis on Thompson as well makes sure that they do manage to get out on at least their cores. Unfortunately, MSS himself is the sacrificial lamb.
Jeez, Jarek's is... oh, this has got to be so annoying to play against. He just keeps tossing people back. He's tipping. He's doing the tilt tip as well.
OG, 8,000 gold lead. They don't need to wait for a second Roshan, it seems like, to take more objectives. Setting themselves up. Mid's pushed in. Bottom lane is pushing in as well. There's still plenty of tower network to be claimed. Thompson, well, he does have his ultimate. Whoa, nice toss from Jarex. That is beautiful. Gets him away from that Omni Slash. And now Thompson can go back in, still with his ultimate ready to go.
Jarex is still alive for the time being. Might go down as the boar is on top of him.
There's just too many slows, but Thompson sees this opportunity to go for UR. Immediately UR pops that stone gaze. He's so afraid of the Troll's damage with that Diffuser Blade. Very quickly can rip through that mana shield. Slow down MSS, who has to telekinesis here, but ILTW is going to be able to get the chains out. Tries to protect himself with a stolen flame guard. Can't get it, though.
If you notice from OG, they have multiple ways to start the fight. Like ILTW has set up so many different engagements with just his chains.
Buyback in. RP from Seth. He's going to be able to get the 2-man skewer back into the whirling axes of Thompson, as well as that cleave. SVG is in the middle of nowhere.
And Jarex with that toss save too to start it all off. Thompson didn't have an Aegis or anything, no BKB, tosses him out, saves him from the Jug Omni Slash. Does die, but I mean, they forced out a Chain Frost on top of that.
Do you think this is a lineup problem? Do you think this is a drafting problem, or?
I think it's a combination. I think they're getting outplayed. Like that mid fight was definitely just an outplay, and that's what led to the Roshan. And that bottom fight too, their decision to go for that kill while their base was getting hit.
Yeah.
ILTW was just like, I have an Aegis. I'm not sure what you guys. And the TPs back were so late. It's like nobody on Forward noticed for a full like 4 seconds. Like, oh wait, our tier 3's gone. And casually they've lost the racks.
Yeah, ILTW does that in the first place. He puts himself in that situation because if they try and TP back, he's going to stop TP.
He's got a remnant there.
Yeah.
He doesn't care.
He'll make sure that no matter what, it's going to be some sort of weird 4 versus 5, or they're going to be too late to save the tier 3. Jarex being run down here, does manage to get an avalanche, blocking in by the Medusa's illusions. Jarex, a lot of hate coming his way. First it was the Chain Frost, now it's the Primal Roar.
It's definitely both though. Like if you're ILTW, like, this game is really fun for you to play because there's very little that can kill you, and you can always set up with the Searing Chains for your team. Like that is the support killer in this game. Whereas for Forward to get any sort of kills, even on a support, they have to commit the Roar.
Yeah.
When they don't commit an ult, the Roar, or the Chain Frost, they're not getting kills. We saw yesterday when Soxa was playing the Coddle, if you can't get on top of this hero, his team fight contribution is way too good.
ILTW losing most of his mana from the Mystic Snake of UR, but he is still not afraid. As Lincoln's coming up, the Will-O-Wisp is going to be able to catch that Juggernaut. Thompson, this is so rough for Forward. They just have no teeth whatsoever. They can't do any damage to OG at this point. UR, he's going to be chased down.
Look at
Can't
Jarex.
even make it back to tier 3.
He was dead, but he still gives him the all-chat taunt. Like, that's an assist right there.
Held in place by the gaze of SVG. Seth is going to enable ILTW and Thompson to clean up more heroes. That's a triple kill now for Thompson. ILTW will be able to grab MSS. So I'm not sure. Did he just empower Universe? This dying breath. All right, well, Universe has got cleave now.
And Jarex gets tipped back.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Oh. But yeah, I think it was a combination of OG just playing this like perfectly.
Yeah.
And look at that top fight. Sometimes you know when a team is just, they're rolling. Like they felt that.
It seemed like you weren't a big fan of the combination of supports. Like you're talking about like the multiple ways to be able to start a fight that OG has. So many different ways. Both their supports can start a fight and their offlaner can. Their mid can as well. And then you've got Forward who can just pretty much only Primal Roar. That's it.
Yeah, they have a Deuce and a Jug that don't really do anything to set up in these fights. I think I didn't see the draft order, but I think what probably happened is after they took the mag, did they take the Jug to deny the pick? Pick into pick? I'm not sure, but in any case, like I think their lineup, you can do stuff with it on the side of Forward, but in my opinion, like Dota's always been determined by whose lineup is easier to execute. Like if you're behind it all, like do you have stuns? Can you get the initiation? Because if you can get an initiation off, you can always come back into games. Like if you have tools to start a fight, you can get that early 4-on-5 or something like that, turn the game around. But I just don't think Forward quite have that. They need this Dusa to continue pace of game.
Do you think it's possible they could just stall on high ground for another 35 minutes or something?
I mean, Dusa games, it's always possible, but I think that OG right now are, unless they mess up massively, it would take them messing up rather than anything crazy Forward could do. But they're going to smoke in. They're
Second Roshan. Forward cannot allow this to happen. Jarex is positioning himself that way. Forward has to go through him in order to get inside the Roshan pit. His life is going to be well used here as it looks like Jarex will fall, but now the Roshan's already dead, and we're going to have Thompson coming in with that Aegis, whirling axes. That's going to be Universe as well as MSS down. Stone Gaze popped by UR, but I'm not even sure if he's going to get away. Thompson's going to be able to slow him down with another round of ranged axes, and ILTW is just always on the chase. Chains up in 3 seconds. And Forward, I mean, you've got a Frost Shield, but there's no other assistance that's coming for UR.
Yeah. Their team fight is so good.
He bounced Chain Frost back at him.
With the Ember Spear being able to start all the fights for them, that they didn't even need to use RP in this fight to win it. Like, that's how comfortably ahead they are. This is really well done by OG. It was the mid fight, the initial one where they were able to cut the fight off, make the Roar useless, and the decision by Forward to go for that bottom play by OG. I mean, credit to OG because they were like, well, we'll force them back, and then the opportunity sort of just presented itself. It's weird, like, because I mean,
the way that game ended is just like, it's a great story for the game as a whole, where Thompson's just kind of ignoring all the damage that's being put on him, and he just ends the game.
Yeah. I mean, that was just a cool situation overall, like when they were just like, well, we'll go high ground and then we'll just outplay you for like 3 minutes straight with like 100 HP. And I think Forward, I mean, they look disappointed and they should be. That's just a weird way to lose a game. It felt like they'd never really had a chance the entire time through, and that's how largely their tournament run has sort of looked so far. They just sort of look lost, a little bit off. I mean, credit to OG because they played this game real well.
For sure, but this losing streak for Forward continues, and I mean, they got to find a way to dig themselves out of this. Otherwise, they're going to be going out as the bottom 2 teams in their group. A team that was like once hailed as kind of like a great NA hope. They were kind of expected the easy number 2 in North America, and here at ESL One Katowice, it does not look good for them.
No, and that's like, personally, it's pretty disappointing, right? Because you have, I mean, we're from North America. There's no bias here, but like, you still want to see North American Dota do well, you know? How's Cole doing, by the way? Surely Cole is picking up the slack.
Cole, lock it down for us.
Is EG here? Like,
all right, well, rough times for Forward in this game 1 against OG. Maybe different draft. Something different needs to happen for Forward. They want to be able to take on what are the juggernauts of OG right now.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Lots of chat going to have to happen if Forward are going to figure out how they come back in this particular series. A poor performance in game number 1. A good performance by OG, though. They've bounced back after losing 2-0 to Gambit earlier on today. And don't forget, of course, Forward took a game off Gambit yesterday, so they're not out of it just yet. Let's find out from our panel members, Fogged and Has, what their thoughts were on game number 1. Alan, it was a good performance by OG.
It's very solid. And, you know, Dota boils down to a lot of things, but one thing that OG has done so well since the beginning of TI is they consistently put pressure on your Tier 1 mid tower and defend their own. And it really felt to me like I thought Forward had some momentum in this game, but OG stopped a couple of Tier 1 pushes around the early teens minute marks, and it looked like Forward's momentum sort of fizzled from there, and the rest of the game was played mostly on their own side of the map.
We're going to take a look back at some of the moments in the game, Fog, but I want to talk about the end of the game as well. We talk about body language and how players react to win-ins, and you saw OG all smiling and laughing and joking around, and then you cut to the Forward saying, and they're all individually in their seat, they all look very... not bored, but they look disinterested. Even Rezo at the other end, who I know very well, and he's not a downbeat guy.
No, he's a happy dude.
He's a happy guy. Very rarely gets down, even when he's having a bad day. He had his hand and he's on the side of his face. He was slumped. That does not look like a good team right now.
I mean, even just looking at how the game ended, look at how they all were kind of walking one by one and dying. No one typed GG early either. The game, the throne died, and then Rezo was the one who types GG. So it's not like someone even was calling the game even though it was clearly over. People are kind of just dying. So sometimes we say teams are talking about the next game. That one didn't really feel.
No, and I want to ask you, because I don't feel like I'm picking on you, but you've played in several teams who have had some very tough tournaments, right?
Yes.
You've had some tough results. So how do you get out of that slump? What do you talk about? Because I know that you've done it. You've bounced back. You've got the odd game win here or there, even when there's been nothing to play for in the tournament. But you've still got it. So how have you done that, and how has your team done that in the past to get out of those slumps?
Had some pretty toxic teams, Paul.
Yes, you have. I'll be honest. Yes. But you still managed to get out. So
some of the times, yeah. Sometimes it would just be like, honestly, like, you play like shit. You have to just play better this next game, and that actually wasn't good. We were not, a bunch of my teams, we were never really good at actually.
But have you been in a team like that where no one is talking to each other either?
No, actually no.
Because that seems rarer to me.
We always did, even when we like had our...
Even when it was bad talk, it's still talk.
The worst one ever was at TI3 when we lost. Like that was the worst, because that one where it was literally everyone just turned to each other and like, you lost me the game, and everyone was like tears pretty much.
Sure.
It's pretty hard to pick yourself up when you're really down, but... I mean, that's where maybe Jack can come into play, Jack's smiley face, but I mean, these guys are looking... They're looking really down, and I didn't even... The first 15 minutes was dead even.
It was fine, wasn't it?
Dead really even. It literally was at the 16... I can't get the exact number. Whatever, 16-12 or 16-10. It just was straight up in favor of OG.
It was an even game. Uar was clearly trying to get involved on this Medusa. He wasn't just AFK farming it, but that's where I felt like you looked at that 15-16 minute mark, they're trying to sustain these mid pushes. Uar isn't farming as a result, and that's where she doesn't have that kind of separation that she needs to sustain through the mid game. And I have to say, look, can we get a graphic up? I'll TW Ember Spirit, okay? 22 minutes in, he was 5-2 and 10. He was in on 15 of 15 OG team kills for the first 22 minutes of this game. He created space in this one so well.
That is, I want to bring back to what Seb said yesterday. They've been looking for an OG-style player, right? That's an OG style player, the player that goes in with the team every single time for every single kill, no matter whether he's doing a ton of damage or a little bit of damage or even just being annoying in spot because he's got nothing up right now. That's the kind of OG player that they want, isn't it?
There we go. And
he played
right there.
He did it. He really has been playing fantastic for his team. He's seeming to fit. He's playing on his hero. He's playing the Ember, right? He's doing great at it. I think most of the games I've been seeing them when they're doing well, I don't think ILTW has deaths. He's like, even his lifestealer yesterday, right? I think he was like 16-1 or something. It was like remarkable. Everybody else had tons of deaths, but not him.
Yeah.
He's definitely been standing out for this team. And also, I want to just point out one little thing about like some of these heroes here is every time I've been, not every time, but whenever I see this Dusa and I see these heroes that can poke and prod, and even a tossback or a skewer, that's where I'm scared of. When you're this turret, which you are as a Dusa, and there are these heroes that can move you from that position, it can really change the game. So
just in general,
that was my fear, and it ended up happening. It ended up happening top, mid, several times.
Just in general, it doesn't even have to be the Dusa. When you get these teams that want to fight, they want to fight in formation around this one big hero. And when you have forced movement abilities in Dota are just, they're so OP. When you have the ability to break that enemy formation, get even one hero out of position, that creates an opening for you to win that fight. And to say nothing, we didn't talk in the draft about the way they abuse skewer toss in that lane, but that's it's a nifty thing. OG showed it in the qualifiers that they like to abuse this tossing the range creep under the high ground, and it really does put a tremendous amount of pressure onto that lane.
Yeah, it does. I mean, they did it with the Beastmaster Hawk originally, tossing the range creep onto the high ground. This time, sure, they got a Magnus.
Thank you very much, gents. Fun. Time for us to have a break here in Katowice. Don't go too far away, though. Game 2 just around the corner. Plenty to think about if you're a forward gaming player. Plenty to think about if you're a forward gaming fan right now. We'll see if they can turn things around after the break.
Do a lot of damage to support. That's going to be the Lich down MSS and half health. Great Will-O-Wisp, but Primal War out from Universe is going to be able to stall the Amber Spear's damage. That'll now
Will-O-Wisp is doing so much.
It was able to pull UR in one more time, and now he's going to be chased down by Seth as well as Thompson. No ensnares just yet. There it is. Double kill for ILTW.